Okay, we've got a demand function, a price function, and a cost function. Identify the fixed costs. So in the cost formula, the fixed costs are the constant part, or if you think of when Q is equal to 0, when you are producing no quantity at all, what would your cost be? That would be your fixed costs. Variable cost is per unit, and it's just assumed that you understand that variable cost means a per unit cost. And each unit here would be an extra $3. It's the slope. Revenue function. Okay, revenue is the price that customers pay times the quantity that they buy. And the price is found from the demand function. So the demand price, or the selling price, the customer price, times the number of units. In this case, the demand price is 100 minus 3Q, so we'll substitute that in, times by the quantity, which makes the revenue function 100Q minus 3Q squared. Now profit is revenue less cost. We just found the revenue function, 100Q minus 3Q squared. Take away, now the cost function has more than one term, so you'll want to put parentheses around it, and then the negative is going to distribute through. 100Q minus 3Q squared minus 3Q minus 150. We could simplify, get negative 3Q squared plus 97Q minus 150. Now evaluate the cost, the demand price, the revenue, and the profit at Q naught. And the Q naught that I was given in this problem was 10. So cost at 10 would be 3 times, plug in 10 for Q, plus 150, makes $180. Demand price at 10 was 100 minus 3 times, plug in 10 for the Q. That's $70 per unit. For the revenue, we can do price times quantity. And I found both of those. So I just found that the selling price is $70. And I know that the quantity is 10 units. So that should be $700. That should be the same that you get if you plug a 10 into your revenue function. So you could do that one either way. Profit is revenue less cost. Now again, we just found an equation. You could plug 10 into your profit equation, but I know my revenue is $700, and I know that the cost is 180 when the number of units is 10. That makes the profit $520. Okay, now to find all the break-even points, for break-even, we have two different definitions. Our first definition is that revenue is equal to cost. The second definition is that if revenue and cost are the same, then when you take the profit and you do revenue subtract the cost, since they're identical, then the profit would equal 0. You can use either one of those. I'm going to take profit equal to 0 and set that up. So negative 3Q squared plus 97Q minus 150. I want to know, when does that equal 0? This is quadratic, so I could do a quadratic formula. Q is negative b. B is 97. Plus or minus the square root of Q squared minus 4 times, plug in negative 3 for A, plug in negative 150 for C, and that's all over 2 times negative 3. Now to calculate this, I'm going to put it into Excel. And since calculations are happening up in the numerator, you'll need parentheses to enclose the numerator. And then there's also a multiplication in the denominator, so you'll need extra parentheses around that. For the first x, open the numerator, opposite of 97 plus square root, that's SQRT, of, inside the parentheses, you put what's under the square root, 97 squared minus 4 times -3 times -150. Okay, so that parenthesis closes off for the 150. This parenthesis closes off the square root, and then that closes off the numerator. Over. Open the denominator, 2 times -3. 1.6284 should be my first answer for x, and then there's a second one, which is the case where you take the subtract. So I can copy everything that's in there and paste it in. And since all of this was static, there weren't any references, and then just change the plus in front of the square root to a minus. And now I have my second answer. So my first break-even point, copy and paste it in, 1.628, comma, and then your second break-even point. Looks good.